What you thinking about? Good morning. Good morning. Well, before we do anything, we gotta make some juice. Alright, this time we're making it with kale instead of spinach, but I think it'll pretty much turn out pretty close to the same. Well, hello Lionhearts. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion and Breck. Well, since we went to Palm Springs last night to film at Kenny Jr.'s house, and how awesome was that, I decided, well, let's go out there a little early, make another vlog, and you guys can watch it the next day. I'm not in Palm Springs too often, so let's make this a fun one. So where we're going today is we're gonna go see if there used to be a giant spider made out of a Volkswagen Bug, and we're gonna go by one of Elvis Presley's Palm Springs homes. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. Now, we actually didn't show what was in Breck's trunk, but Breck brought quite a few things to donate to Kenny as well. And it was basically like if you raided a computer lab from when you were in elementary school. That's basically what it was. It was everything except for a fax machine. Oh, I stand corrected. There was a fax machine in there. Off in the distance, Breck was telling me that's a 1976 bicentennial dam over there. You can see all the paint starting to fade off of it. Well, we are getting close to Palm Springs, and you guys know me, I love Elvis Presley, so we're gonna go see one of Elvis Presley's homes. And this isn't actually the honeymoon house, this is the one that he bought in 1970 off of, well, the head of McDonald's, Ray Kroc. If I was a guy, I would try my luck. When I was a guy, I would set up. I was a fly, I would get my way. I still shot on my punk rock days. If I was a fly, it was really good. And here we are, the neighborhood where Elvis Presley had his, what they called Graceland West. That is not it, but that is a great looking house, isn't it? Well, right here it is. They used to have this, as I understand online, it was kind of a museum, and right here on this centerpiece they had a big mural of Elvis. I'll find it online and I'll match it up. But Elvis, the story for his Palm Springs life is that he actually spent his honeymoon here at a different house, and they actually have turned that into a museum. But then and that was in 1967, but in 1970 Elvis and Priscilla bought this house, and they would spend 3 months a year hanging out here, visiting and enjoying the cool weather that we're enjoying right now. And they said that originally it was kind of a rather small house. It was only 2 bedrooms, and once Elvis and Priscilla decided to get a divorce in 1973, Elvis had 2,500 square feet added on, and most of that was a new bedroom because he said he didn't want to sleep in the bedroom that he and Priscilla had shared. So he had another bedroom, a sauna, and I think 2 bathrooms added on, as well as a recreation room that became known as the Jungle Room. And they said that basically this became a bachelor pad hangout. And I've spent a lot of time up here. When the sun's out, it is ungodly hot. So I couldn't quite understand why anyone would want to live out here, but what they said was that Elvis would basically sleep all day long and would wake up as the sun was going down, and he would actually have foil over his windows to keep the sun out. So there's a pool behind here and a jacuzzi, and they said he used to spend a lot of his time in the jacuzzi, and actually had a cover built for the jacuzzi because at the time there were so many helicopters that would fly overhead just to get glimpses and footage of Elvis. It's pretty interesting to see that now it's pretty much nothing. I had read online that it was being used as a museum in honor of the king, And this place is actually really fascinating to me because it's one of the who they consider to be like the father of desert design created this. His name is Fry, and it was originally built for from Andrew Jergens from the Jergens lotion fortune, and he lived in it for about, I think it was 15 years or 14 years. It was actually completed in 1946. And then in 1960, Ray Kroc's family owned it. Well, they bought it. And it's crazy because it was right around that time that Ray Kroc went from being the president of McDonald's and actually ended up taking over. And got ownership from the two McDonald's brothers. And one of his neighbors when he lived here was actually Maurice McDonald. I believe he lived in the house right over here. So Ray Kroc owned it from 1960 and sold it to Elvis Presley for a $20,000 down payment and then a total of $105,000. And then when Elvis passed away, of course, in the 70s, his daughter and Priscilla took over ownership, and they kept the house until 1981. And when they sold the house, they sold it to Frankie Valli from Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. Now what's weird is that Frankie Valli owned it for a little over a year and then sold it to a Japanese businessman. Now the Japanese businessman bought the house and then realized that he apparently had a fear of flying. He couldn't handle how far and how long the flights from Japan to California were, Southern California. So for 18 years, he really never visited this place and never did anything with it, and it fell into disrepair. So when they finally sold it in the late, I think it was 2007, 8, 9 area, a couple bought it, and they said that they were actually going to spend like 5 years fixing it up, and then they were going to have they were basically going to turn it into an entertainment complex the way Graceland was, because this was always kind of known as, or since Elvis died, they've deemed it as being Graceland West, because at the time of his death he only owned 2 properties, this property and Graceland. So it's kind of an interesting story that's been attached to this. Now, like I said, online I had seen that right there on what would be, I guess, the chimney, they had a big profile of Elvis painted there. And they also said that when they reopened this, they were going to have modern furnishings, not have it furnished the way Elvis had. But I also read an article online that had been inside the house, and they said that a handful of the kind of the hardware and some of the faucets and things like that were still the exact ones that were here when Elvis lived here. So this is what they call Graceland West. Now, for all you Elvis fans, this wasn't just a property that he lived in, and this wasn't just a bachelor pad. He actually recorded 9 songs while living here in this house. Now, when Elvis and Priscilla divorced, she actually willingly gave up this property. So this was all his when he passed away. So cool. I haven't gotten to see Graceland yet, but that is on my radar. It's just so cool every time I get to see another house of somewhere where the king lived, and to think of him driving a Cadillac or a motorcycle in through this gate. Too cool. And actually, you could have driven a little bit into there, but then there's another driveway right down here at the foot of the property. Well, check that out. We got here late and the sun's going down, but the very top of that spider is a Volkswagen Beetle. Can you see that? That is rad. Now it's actually called the hole in the wall, you can see over there, and it's like a, I don't know exactly what they do here, but I had seen online this used to be a welding shop and they've been out of business for a while, but when I saw that there was a gigantic spider made out of a Volkswagen Beetle, I said, Breck, we gotta swing by and see it. Even if the sun's down, we gotta go see it. Here's a different angle. We'll kind of zoom in and see if you can see a little bit more there. We tried to position Breck's car so that we could get a little bit of light. You can see that the Beetle itself is right there. All right, we went and got my G7X. It's supposed to be good with the low light, and we've all seen that it is, so check this out. This is why you get the G7X. There it is, there's that Beetle. That is awesome. You have no idea how dark it is out here. Even my camera isn't doing justice how truly dark it is out here, and this camera's capturing that. Dude, how awesome is that? We got here late, but we still were able to see Elvis's house and a gigantic beetle made out of, or a gigantic spider made out of a beetle. How awesome is that?
How awesome is that? Yeah, we got to see both Elvis and the Beatles.
Yeah, I think this turned out to be a pretty cool vlog, actually. I mean, this was basically just, we were already coming out to Palm Springs, and I said, I'd hate to only go out there and do one thing, Breck. Can we try and squeeze something else in? And so cool to get to see one of Elvis's houses, as well as that spider made out of a beetle. I think this has been a pretty great day.
I never really cared about my job. I was always working for someone else. I won't put a flowers when I was 5. With the neighbor kids of Baltimore, chicks and fireflies.